On Monday, January 15th, 2018, following a period of transition, a new government has been installed by the Governor of St. Martin. The new members of the Council of Ministers were installed following exact procedures, from signing the national decrees, to taking of the oath, to finally signing the process verbals representing the official record. The ceremony began with His Excellency Governor Holliday welcoming candidate Prime Minister Mrs. Leona Marlin Romeo into the Governor's chambers. Here, the candidate Prime Minister presented Governor Holliday with the national decree regulating the dismissal of the outgoing Prime Minister and then the appointment of the new Prime Minister. Governor Holliday then signed off on the national decree regulating the dismissal of the outgoing Prime Minister and then the appointment of the new Prime Minister. The new Prime Minister followed and did the same. Governor Holliday then congratulated Mrs. Leona Marlin Romeo on her appointment as Prime Minister. Newly appointed Prime Minister Mrs. Leona Marlin Romeo then took the official oath of office before His Excellency Governor Holliday.
Ik zweer verklaar dat ik middelijk, nog onmiddellijk, onder welke naam of wat voorwendsel ook, in verband met het verkrijgen van mijn benoeming als minister aan iemand wie hij ook zij iets heb gegeven of beloofd, nog zal geven. Ik zweer beloof dat ik om iets hoegenaamd in deze betrekking te doen of te laten van niemand hoegenaamd enige belofte of enig geschenk aannemen zal, middelijk of onmiddellijk. Ik zweer beloof trouw aan de koning en het statuut voor het koninkrijk dat ik de staatsregeling van Sint Maarten steeds zal helpen onderhouden en het welzijn van Sint Maarten naar mijn vermogen zal voorstaan.
So truly help me God Almighty.
Congratulations.
The governor and the new prime minister then returned to the governor's chambers, where they both signed off on the national decrees regulating the dismissal of the outgoing ministers and the appointment of the new ministers, including the deputy minister plenipotentiary. The following newly appointed ministers respectively took the oath of office before His Excellency Governor Holliday. Mr. Emil Lee.
So truly help me God Almighty. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Mr. Michael Ferrier.
Truly help me God Almighty.
Mr. Cornelius De Wever.
Truly help me God Almighty. Congratulations. Thank you.
Miss Jorien Woyte.
Help me God Almighty.
Mr. Miklos Hidgerson. Mr. Hersani Ellis also took the oath of office as the Deputy Plenipotentiary before His Excellency Governor Holliday.
Rechtstreeks nog middelijk onder welke naam of welk voorwendsel ook enige gift of gunst heb gegeven of beloofd. Ik zweer, verklaar en beloof dat ik om iets in dit ambt te doen of te laten rechtstreeks nog middelijk enig geschenk of enig belofte heb aangenomen of zal aannemen. Ik zweer beloof trouw aan de koning, aan het statuut voor het koninkrijk en aan de staatsregeling van Sint Maarten. Ik zweer beloof dat ik de plichten die mijn ambt mij oplegt getrouw zal vervullen.
So help me God Almighty. Congratulations. Success.
After the official oath taking, His Excellency Governor Holliday delivered the transfer of governing responsibility address to the ministers and invited guests at the ceremony.
On November 2nd, 2017, a shift in the majority of Parliament took place, creating the basis for the transfer of governing responsibility to a new team of ministers. Today, almost 2.5 months later, we have before us a Council of Ministers supported by the new majority in Parliament. During the formation period for this interim cabinet, I consulted with various persons and named Mr. Franklin Myers and subsequently Mrs. Sarah Westcott Williams as formateur to form this interim government. You have, as a result, just witnessed the transfer of executive responsibility for the governance of our country to a new team of ministers. The path to this transfer was not without challenges. To all who gave their input to the transition and formation process, I hereby express my gratitude also on behalf of the people of St. Martin. And in particular, I wish to thank Mr. Franklin Myers for starting and Mrs. Sarah Westcott Williams for completing the formation assignment as formateur. Thank you, Mrs. Westcott. Having concluded the formation process, it is important to emphasize that we are, as I stated in my New Year's address, living at a pivotal moment in our nation's history. Hurricane Irma and her aftermath have set our country back in no small way. And while we have made great strides to date, we still have quite some work to do. Quite some work to meet the urgent challenge of rebuilding our beautiful island, St. Martin. As we face this challenge together, I advise that we hold on to the fundamental principles that underpins our Constitution. Looking ahead, it is therefore important that we are reminded of the principles outlined in the preamble of our Constitution, which, slightly reworded, states, "We, the people of St. Martin, are determined to work with each other. We believe in the principle of democracy. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in the entitlement of all individuals to the fundamental rights and freedoms. We wish to create a constitutional order based on an open and approachable government. And to record our objectives and convictions, we therefore agree that the provisions of the Constitution shall have the force of law. As such, it provides an anchor and a blueprint for individuals, households, corporations, public organizations, and government to work together to rebuild St. Martin and improve the lives of our people. Prime Minister, ministers, Today, 2.5 months since the previous team of ministers made their position available, you come before the people of St. Martin as a new team of ministers. A new team faced with the responsibility of, among others, furthering the recovery process in cooperation with the Netherlands, revisiting the budget for 2018, executing the agreement with the Netherlands on border control, implementing the law on the Integrity Chamber, and executing the February 26th elections. With respect to the furthering and planning of the recovery, I encourage you to take steps to meet the urgent needs of our people in terms of, among others, employment and housing. As you assume your mandate to govern this beautiful country, I trust that you, in keeping with your oath, will work to fortify our constitutional principles aimed at improving the well-being of our people. Accepting the position of minister through the taking of the oath today is a solemn expression of your commitment to perform your duties with integrity. It is your pledge of allegiance to the King and the Kingdom Charter. It is your individual declaration to always uphold the Constitution of St. Martin. And it is your solemn affirmation to always dedicate yourself to foster the well-being of the people of St. Martin. Through your oath, you have accepted the obligation to serve all the people of St. Martin. The fulfillment of this obligation must be based on the principles of democracy, on the rule of law, on the respect for the fundamental rights and freedoms of all persons, and anchored in our determination as a people to work together. In that regard, there rests on you individually, as ministers, and jointly as a council of ministers, a great responsibility. Your decisions will have lasting influences on the lives of the people of St. Martin. Thus, as you deliberate on taking action on the matters before you during your governing period, I wish you wisdom, individually and jointly, in the conduct of your responsibilities as you seek to meet your constitutional responsibility to the people of St. Martin. With that in mind, I hereby congratulate the people of St. Martin with the installation of this new government, and similarly congratulate each of you and your families here present with your appointments as Prime Minister, ministers, and Deputy Minister Plenipotentiary. Thank you, God bless you, and may God bless St. Martin and protect its coast. Please join us in raising your glasses to the rebuilding of St. Martin. Yeah. Cheers.
His Excellency Governor Holliday, flanked by the ministers, then signed off on the process verbals, which represents the official record of the ministers having taken the oath of office before the governor. This is the official group photo of His Excellency Governor Holliday, the new Council of Ministers, and Minister Plenipotentiary. Following the official group photo, the new Council of Ministers and His Excellency Governor Holliday then proceeded to the Government Administration Building, where Prime Minister Leona Marlin Romeo opened a constituting meeting of the Council of Ministers.
At this moment, before I officially ask the governor and open this meeting, I just want to give a short word of thanks to all of the supporters, everyone that are here right now, the Honorable Chair Lady of Parliament, who was the former TUD that completed the entire process, the one that begun it, the former TUD, Franklin Myers, my family, my daughter. It's a good experience for you. I thank you all. At this time, His Excellency, Council of Ministers, invited guests, I hereby open this meeting.
Today, almost 2.5 months ago, a shift in the majority in Parliament took place, creating the basis for the transfer of governing responsibility to a new team of ministers, the new team of ministers. As a result, this interim cabinet was appointed and sworn in a short while ago. As I stated during the swearing-in ceremony, the path to this transfer was not without challenges. Having concluded the formation, and the Prime Minister just referred to and thanked the formateur, Mrs. Westcott-Williams, and I hereby also express my thanks to Mrs. Westcott-Williams for completing the process which was started by Mr. Franklin Myers. Thank you. Having completed the formation process, it is important to emphasize that we are, as I stated in my New Year's address, living at a pivotal moment in our nation's history. Hurricane Irma and her aftermath have set our country back in no small way. And while we have made great strides during the past 4 months, we have quite some work to do in the period ahead. Quite some work to meet the urgent challenges ahead of us for the rebuilding of our beloved island, St. Martin. As we face this challenge, I say we because we are in this together. I advise that we hold on to the fundamental principles that underpins our Constitution. Looking ahead, it is therefore important that we are reminded of the principles outlined in the preamble of our Constitution, which, as I said during the swearing-in ceremony, slightly reworded states, "We, the people of St. Martin, are determined to work with each other. We believe in the principles of democracy. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in the entitlement of all individuals to the fundamental rights and freedoms. We wish to create a constitutional order based on an open and approachable government. And we therefore, to record our objectives and convictions, agree that the provisions of our Constitution shall have the force of law. As such, our Constitution provides an anchor and a blueprint for individuals, households, corporations, public organizations, and government to work together to build St. Martin and improve the lives of our people. In this respect, this new team is faced with an awesome responsibility. A responsibility of, among others, furthering the recovery process in cooperation with the Netherlands, revisiting the budget of 2018, executing the agreement with the Netherlands on border control, starting with the implementation of the law on the Integrity Chamber, and executing the February 26th elections. And in assuming the mandate to govern this, our beautiful country, I trust that each one of you as ministers, in keeping with your oath, will work to fortify our constitutional principles aimed at improving the well-being of our people. I therefore, with respect, and as I said during the swearing-in ceremony, with respect to the furthering and planning of the recovery, encourage you as ministers and as council to take steps to meet the urgent needs of our people in terms of, among others, employment and housing. In that regard, there rests on you individually and collectively as Council of Ministers a great responsibility. Your decisions will have lasting influences on the lives of our people. Thus, as you deliberate on taking action on the matters before you during your governing period, I again wish you wisdom individually and collectively in the conduct of your responsibilities as you seek to meet your constitutional responsibility to our people. With that in mind, I hereby congratulate the people of St. Martin with the installation of this new government, and similarly congratulate each of you and your families with your appointments as Prime Minister, ministers, and Deputy Minister Plenipotentiary. Thank you. God bless each of you, and may God bless St. Martin and protect its coast. Thank you.
To give an elucidation of just what just transpired, that was the National Decree voor Vervangingsregeling According to Article 38 and 39 of the Constitution, the ministers together form the Council of Ministers. The Council just signed a national decree that outlines specifically which ministers replaces whom in the event that a particular minister is absent, the so-called vervangingsregeling. Absence of a minister can be, for example, the minister has to travel or as the minister is on vacation. The current national decree is outlined as follows. The Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, in her absence, will be replaced by Minister Emile Lee, who is the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. The Minister of Finance, Michael Ferrier, will be replaced by Minister Urine Uite, who is the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports. The Minister of Justice, Van Hugh de Wever, will be replaced by myself, Mrs. Leona Romeo Marlin, the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs. The Minister of Education, Urine Uite, Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports, Urine Uite, will be replaced by Minister Gitterson, who's the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure. The Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, Mr. Emile Lee, will be replaced by Minister Michael Ferrier, who's the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Traffic, and Telecommunication will be replaced by Minister Van Hugh Cornelius de Wever. That position is yet to be filled. And also, the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure will be replaced by Miklos Gitterson, by Minister Van Hugh de Wever. In the event that the minister and his or her replacement are absent, the Prime Minister will replace the minister, otherwise Minister Lee. In case all these persons are absent, the person who is the oldest in age will replace the minister in question.
We will now invite our Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs to give her first official remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the podium our Prime Minister, Mrs. Leona Romeo Marlin.
Protocol has been established. Let me wish each and every one of you a pleasant good day. Let me commence by sharing a few of the lyrics of a song called Not Alone for Mighty Empire, written by William P. Merrill in 1911. And mind you, I'm not going to sing it, I'm going to recite it. Not alone for mighty empire, stretching far over land and sea. Not alone for bounteous harvest, lift we up our hearts to thee. Standing in the living present, memory and hope between, Lord, we would with deep thanksgiving praise thee more for things unseen. God of justice, save the people from the clash of race and creed, from the strife of class and faction. Make our nation free indeed. Keep her faith in simple manhood, strong as when her life began, till it find its full fruition in the brotherhood of man. I want to give thanks for this opportunity presented to me to represent St. Martin as the second female Prime Minister of this young nation. I am truly humbled and honored by all of the congratulatory and outpouring of well wishes that I have received from both near and far. The journey has been and is challenging and will be challenging, but God gives the toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Today, I pledge to you that with all my strength, determination, perseverance, together, we will ensure that this country will return to its prominent status within this region. September 6, 2017, a day that will forever be etched in our minds, a day that changed this island that we love, St. Martin. I stand here today and can proudly state that in its darkest moments, this nation has shown an unyielding determination that revealed a perfect truth, that we, as a people, we are resilient and we are unconquerable. A nation without fortitude and will to survive is one with hollow bearings and will eventually confront the inevitable and fall. Though we have shown our determination to survive after Hurricane Irma, it does not stop here. This nation has to rebuild, but cannot be rebuilt overnight. St. Martin, we are essentially still in the recovery stage, and in order to thrive and evolve in prosperity, a paradigm shift must occur. As a people, we must collectively change our outlook, as it is no longer business as usual. During this stage of recovery, it is important for us to unite, learn from past experiences, and restructure, rebuild, reform, simply because we are a progressive nation and can and will do better. I am cognizant to the reality that the road ahead will be long. There are tough times ahead. But with the focus on setting the right priorities for recovery, within due time, we will achieve our goals. This government is committed to the principles of integrity, transparency, and good governance. We are committed to the recovery and reconstruction of St. Martin. This includes establishing a clear and actionable economic plan developed in cooperation with the community entities such as the Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Unions, SHTA, SER, just to name a few. Managing the labor market and establishing skill development programs to ensure maximum employment for the people of St. Martin. Working together to ensure stability and tranquility and hope through the fast-track and sustainable economic development, finalizing the plan for reconstruction, giving preferences to the establishment of a safety plan to strengthen the overall safety of St. Martin, implementing bilateral agreements between St. Martin and the Netherlands regarding border control, implementing the Integrity Chamber law in accordance with the agreement between St. Martin and the Netherlands, re-establishing cooperation with French St. Martin. In the upcoming press briefing, each minister will give an overview of their priorities per ministry. Getting the aforementioned and how soon this government does, such will be determined and influenced by many internal and external factors. Setbacks are inevitable, and many will not agree with every decision. However, this alone provides an opportunity towards self-reflection. As Balthasar Creation stated, self-reflection is the school of wisdom. As Prime Minister, expect that I will always be open and live to my oath. I will be open about the realistic and factual challenges that we face as a country. If the last hurricane season taught us anything, it is that we cannot have a thriving nation without internal and external cooperation, without revisiting and reflecting on the decisions taken, questioning how effective we were and how we can improve and better prepare for the next disaster. It is the utmost importance that during these difficult times, we communicate, prioritize, make good use of the scarce resources that we have. Let me re-emphasize scarce resources. As we cannot spend what we do not have, we cannot squander the little that we do have. To the Council of Ministers, I sincerely pray that we learn from the words of Ezekiel chapter 22:30. It states, I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it, but I found no one. We, this council, this government, are to be those who stand in the gap, who lift up this island with all its challenges, faults, triumphs before the throne of God, and fervently pray that He continues to work in our midst and guide us through this journey. May we keep this nation and each other in prayer without ceasing. On behalf of the Romeo Marling Cabinet, I would like to thank you for your audience. We look forward to working for the people of St. Martin, bearing in mind the quote of Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. May God bless each of you. May He bless us all and bless this nation we love, St. Martin.